A few notes about the recent book, New World Economy, A Beginner's Guide, Demystifying everything from AI to Bitcoins to unicorns and Generation Z, or Generation Z. The book is written by Randy Charles Epping, published last year, 2020, by Vintage. The book promises to be a beginner's guide in the sense that it defines or clarifies a set of frequently used words and concepts which are part of the discourse about contemporary economy. Words like trade wars, isolationism, digital economy, sharing economy, blockchains, cryptocurrencies, and so forth. The proliferation of these concepts, and not only that, but the fact that old concepts that have been in use previously can acquire new meaning after some key event or key development. So these proliferation and changes are happening at a pace that is difficult to keep up with. The book isn't only about new terminology, it also covers older concepts like investment, venture capital, hedge funds, hot money, and so forth. So you might find the book useful if you'd like to learn about and review these concepts and review them against the larger landscape that is current world economy. The book consists of 36 short chapters, relatively short. Each chapter is a few pages long, and each chapter addresses one topic or a question. But as I will say in a moment, the topics are related to each other, and part of that, the task of the book is to show these connections. Let's look at a small sample of chapter titles. I think gives a good indication of what we will find in the book. Chapter 9, which hints at the motivation behind the book. Chapter 9 is called How Do Populist Leaders Use Our Economic Illiteracy to Gain Power? Chapter 10 is called Globalization, Problem or Solution? Chapter 20 is called What is the Internet of Things? Chapter 21, Is Data the New Gold? So at just those 3-4 chapter titles give a good indication of the diverse material in the book. The topics covered in different chapters relate to each other, and indeed a major task of the book is to show how everything covered is interconnected. Therefore, to understand economics, even at this quite superficial level, it is impossible to avoid other related topics, including politics, international relations, the populist movements in different parts of the world, the demise of democracy, just as it is impossible to avoid talking and thinking about technology, artificial intelligence, and new ways of being connected, new ways of working, investing, learning, and sharing, all enabled by technological development. The book is successful, in my view. It is successful at showing the dizzying interconnectedness of our economic lives with so many other related factors. It is also successful at highlighting the movements, the change that is going on in the world. Among the things that are changing is, of course, sadly, the degree of economic inequality. That distance, the gap of inequality is one of the things that is growing. The book also does a fine job at introducing a set of core concepts and showing how to think with them, again, against the background of a larger picture. The limitation of the book, aside from its upfront superficiality, which should not be criticized since it is called a beginner's guide. The limitation of the book, aside from that, is that the author at several points presents his own position on main issues with regard to politics, economics, and international relations. This is a limitation because the reader will learn only how, for instance, a concept like globalism is used by someone who is in favor of it, and not by a critic of globalism. We could extend this to other concepts and terms, including free trade, neoliberalism, and immigration. The meaning of a concept that is the center of a debate is fully and adequately learned only when we see how people on both sides or different sides of a debate understand and use the concepts. I think it is only then that we understand fully, adequately, how a concept is used, not just by people on one side of an issue. In this sense, the book isn't just superficial, but also slightly biased in its presentation. Now, a few words about why I decided to read this book. With my academic background in psychology, Learning about other topics, other areas, is highly inefficient. That is to say, it costs me more time and energy to learn a little about, say, economics or politics compared to the relatively lower cost that could go into learning something new within psychology. But there is an important reason to study other disciplines. If you learn a little psychology, a little politics, a little economics, a little literary theory, you will notice the ideas that can travel across these domains. Equally important is noticing ideas that do not travel across these domains. So some things only exist within psychology, some things only exist within analytic philosophy, some things only exist within economics. But there are ideas that can travel between these domains. And as you move from within one discipline into another disciplines, you realize that you can still care about those topics. And those are the topics that I'm interested in. So my interest in psychology becomes narrower when I learn a little bit about politics or economics. Because why would I remain concerned, why would I remain interested with parts of psychology that are only relevant and interesting to specialist areas within psychology, only to people who have specialized in that area of psychology? Only those people will find it interesting. Why would I be concerned about parts of psychology that don't travel out of psychology? The way my wife described this the other day is by saying that we remain grounded by making references to multiple disciplines, grounded in the so-called common ground. When something is shared by multiple disciplines, it suggests its reality, that there's a thing that is being described, that is being addressed, that is beyond all these disciplines, and they're all sensitive to it. They're all responding to it. So even if you follow my content or you're only interested in my content for reasons related to psychology, I would encourage you to join me occasionally in reading an introductory book about another topic, like economics, like literary theory. If nothing else, it could renew and narrow down your interest in your main area, in this case, psychology. My final criticism of this book is that it doesn't provide a list of recommended readings. It is reasonable to expect from a book that calls itself a beginner's guide to end with a list of recommendations for people who want to study more in that topic. Something that I think would offer some balance to Epping's book is a book called The End of Free Market by Ian Bremmer, published in 2010, which I have just started reading. Just read 10 or 20 pages of it. Although it is slightly dated, it is written with more sophistication, and I am so far enjoying it. And my next review might be of Bremmer's book, The End of Free Market. If you're interested in my review of that book, please let me know in the comments below. And if you're interested in reading this book, or if you have read this book, The New World Economy, I would like to hear from you as well. What did you think about it? Okay, thank you.